American capitalism, once the epitome of free market beauty and prosperity, now a country that rewards unemployment and grants massive federal subsidies to bail out unsuccessful companies. How did America go from being a beacon of democracy and freedom of trade for the rest of the world to a welfare state? Keep watching for a full investigation of who or what killed capitalism in America and what we can do to get it back. On October 29, 1932, the American stock market crashed. People began rushing to banks to try to withdraw money from their accounts as soon as possible, but due to a policy of fractional reserve banking, where banks are only required to keep a fraction of the money in your account actually on hand, accounts were quickly dry, and banks began to drop out of business like flies. Society became terrified that such a crash might happen again in the future, and socialistic ideals began to surge in popularity. Enter Herbert Hoover, a Republican. When Herbert Hoover took office, his initial strategy seemed to be to wait out the Depression for as long as possible. Economically, this response makes the most sense because the market naturally recovers from corrections without needing an external catalyst. Facing pressure from Democrats, however, Hoover soon caved in and began hiking taxes, particularly on corporations, which only made the Depression worse.
That I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
So help you God.
So help me God.
When FDR took office on March 4th of 1933, he promised to make America a fairer place by getting us out of the Depression. His policies, however, accomplished nothing other than to blindly redistribute wealth and to keep the Depression going for much longer than needed. The newest economic evidence shows that the economy would have recovered just fine had FDR not intervened at all. Thomas Sowell, an economist, wrote that unemployment peaked at 9% 2 months after the stock market crashed, and then began drifting gradually downward over the next 6 months, falling to only 6.3% by June of 1930. That was what happened in the market before the federal government decided to do something. Ultimately, however, due to his New Deal policies, FDR killed capitalism in America. By establishing a social safety net, confiscating gold, and granting massive subsidies to failing companies, FDR put us down a path that we may never be able to go back on. Since then, Democrats and Republicans alike have been expanding government power, regulation, and taxation beyond anything that our founding fathers could have even imagined. Even the modern-day Republican Party seems to be only interested in crony capitalism, providing massive tax cuts for corporations, but much less for individuals. The only way to properly restore unfettered capitalism in America is to elect libertarian candidates like Ron Paul and Rand Paul to public office. Not only will they end the crony capitalist policies already in place, but they will restore true capitalism, and therefore true freedom, to our country.